Noah, I have a dinner tonight, and there's a chance I might return late. Please don't wait up for me. Go to bed early, all right? Noah is seated in his wheelchair, and I felt the urge to gently run my fingers through his hair. However, he subtly averted his head, steering clear of my gesture. My hand remained suspended in the air. After a moment, I let out a soft sigh. Despite our many years together in marriage, it appears Noah still struggles with accepting my physical contact. Since he lost his legs while saving me and has been confined to a wheelchair ever since, he has grown increasingly insecure and sensitive, refusing any form of physical touch from me. Noah lowers his gaze, his voice rough. Emma, you know I'm not good enough for you. Every time you reach out, it brings me joy, but then I'm overwhelmed with panic, fearing it's all a dream, and that when I wake up, you'll be repulsed by my legs. I'm truly sorry. Throughout our 3-year marriage, I've made countless efforts to show him that his disability doesn't matter to me. I love him just as he is, regardless of any changes he's undergone. However, my attempts have been futile. He has become even more sensitive and distrustful, believing that I'm deceiving him. I tried to comfort him until his emotions somewhat settled. After that, I quickly left for the social event. This collaboration is vital. If the client is dissatisfied, our partnership might be at risk. I ended up drinking heavily and became extremely intoxicated. I staggered into the bathroom and vomited uncontrollably. By the time I emerged, the room had emptied. I tidied myself up in the bathroom, ensuring no odor lingered that might upset Noah, whose health is delicate and sensitive to certain smells. Over the years, whenever I went out socially, no matter how disheveled I might become, I always made sure to appear fresh and presentable for Noah. Suddenly, the door to the adjacent private room swung open, and cheers erupted from within. Someone exclaimed in astonishment, "Noah, your legs are healed!" My heart raced. At this late hour, Noah should have been asleep. Given his limited mobility, it couldn't have been him. I recalled the orthopedic specialist I had consulted, who mentioned that Noah could undergo treatment within a month. Perhaps he too would recover like this person. I couldn't help but smile and quickened my steps toward the private room. Due to sharing the same name, I instinctively peeked inside. A chill washed over me, freezing my body and slowing my thoughts. I locked eyes with the familiar figure of Noah, who should have been resting at home in his wheelchair, but now he stood upright, carefully holding a woman before him. He was dressed in the white suit that had been stored away for 3 years after our marriage. It was rare to see him so composed. Sophia, my legs are healed. I can finally be worthy of you. Please don't touch her. She's not impure. Give me another chance, he pleaded. How could this be? Just this afternoon when I left home, Noah was in his wheelchair. How could he suddenly be standing? The physical therapist I had hired specifically informed me the night before that Noah's legs hadn't improved. They must have conspired to deceive me. I felt my body sway, nearly losing my balance. Still, I remained hidden behind the door, watching them like a wild animal, my eyes red and fixed on them, hoping Noah had taken a significant risk. But no, his usually stern face was now filled with insecurity and longing. Both his gaze and his body yearned for the other person. She was Noah's first love. After their breakup, Noah casually mentioned that they weren't compatible and that they had parted amicably. In our 3 years of marriage, Noah never once mentioned Sophia's name to me. Friends often warned me that they had been deeply in love back then. Had Noah truly moved on? I wanted to test it, so I deliberately brought up Sophia's name, but Noah's expression turned icy. Don't mention her, she's in the past. Back then, he had spoken coldly and decisively in front of Sophia. Everyone said their relationship was impossible, so Sophia eventually went abroad and hasn't returned in 3 years. I never expected her to come back. Fearing Sophia wouldn't believe his story, Noah produced well-preserved medical reports and handed them to her. Look, the doctor said if I exercise properly, I'll be just like a normal person in the future. Please don't give up on me. Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes as she reached out to gently pinch Noah's face. Standing on tiptoe, she kissed the freckle at the corner of his eye. I knew all along you said so many decisive things, but your eyes showed love for me. I could feel it. You never gave up on me, so I came back. I felt as if I were inside an ice cave. All the hope I had held on to before vanished in an instant. Noah, who had always despised being touched, truly did save me and break his legs. His reluctance to let me touch him was genuine. All of that was real. Noah couldn't wait to explain, saying that on the day he saved me, he hadn't heard my cries for help at all. But because he's disabled and feels unworthy of me, he didn't deny it. When Sophia asked if it was him who saved her, now that he had recovered and cleared up the misunderstanding between us, it was natural for him to suggest a divorce. She has benefited from being married to me over the years, so she hasn't lost out. Sophia was moved to tears. I just knew it was you who saved me that day. I just knew it. They appeared to be the perfect couple, their love touching their friends. While I clutched my chest, my face paling like a ghost. If he didn't save me, then who did? He lied to me. I never received any of the benefits he mentioned. I struggled to breathe, images of the earthquake's aftermath flashing through my mind, but I could only see a silhouette, unable to make out his face. At that moment, someone from the private room exited, seemingly realizing that the door wasn't properly closed and came to shut it. But upon seeing me, they exclaimed, "Sister-in-law, what are you doing here?" Everyone in the room turned to look at me simultaneously. Sophia quickly separated from Noah. "Emma, Noah and I are not what you think. Please don't misunderstand. It's ridiculous. She just saw me a moment ago, and now she's acting as if nothing happened. Asking Noah like that?" "She's acting innocent again." Noah pulled the person behind him. "If you want to hit or scold someone, come at me." Sophia didn't know about any of this, but I still hadn't spoken a word the entire time. I took a step back, pressing my lips together. "So, what should we do? Should we get a divorce?" Noah's voice was cold. "If we can divorce, that would be best. I hope you won't bother me." My eyes stung, tears nearly streaming down, but when I looked up, Sophia was staring at me with innocent eyes, as if amused. Everyone in the room was laughing at me. I walked forward, took off my ring, and said, "Noah, if you like her so much, then give me back the wedding ring." Noah hesitated for a moment before removing the wedding ring himself. Just then, I raised my hand and slapped Sophia across the face without warning. The force made my palm numb. Sophia covered her face and screamed. Noah panicked and tried to push me away, so I slapped him back. "Emma, have you caused enough trouble?" Everyone behind him began talking at once, all joining in to criticize me. I smiled. "Not enough? How about I call the police and let everyone know about your behavior? Let your business partners see the kind of private life you lead. Maybe they won't even want to work with you anymore." "Emma, why are you talking nonsense?" I was indeed talking nonsense. But what if there was a possibility? Businessmen value profits. If their personal affairs affect the company's reputation, they might just terminate partnerships. They looked hesitant. I took back the wedding ring from Noah's hand. "Let's get a divorce. I won't support a wishy-washy man." Sophia was the first to respond. "Who are you calling wishy-washy?" Noah was taken aback and then fell silent. In our 3 years of marriage, Noah never supported me financially. I covered his medical expenses and all other costs myself. Even the wedding ring was entirely bought by me because Noah said his family no longer supported him. I pitied him and never brought up these things before. But now, I care. The wedding ring could be sold for some money. I took back the ring and walked away. Suddenly, it began to pour rain outside. I stood at the doorway, then rushed into the downpour without hesitation, letting the cold rain soak my body. I trembled from the cold, yet my mind felt increasingly clear. Noah wasn't the one who saved me. Then, who was it? Why didn't anyone come forward in 3 years? A black Bentley pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing a man with stern features, slightly sharp brows, and a subtle scar at the end of one eyebrow. Despite this, he was undeniably handsome. I clenched my fists suddenly. I had seen this person before. Nolan. Not very old, but he had started managing business affairs since middle school. Even under immense pressure, his academic performance was exceptional, earning him an admission letter from a top foreign university. After graduation, he returned to take over the family's vast business empire. However, 3 years ago during the earthquake, he was also severely injured and still limps to this day. Anyone who previously gossiped about his foot in public had been disowned by the family, now living in a pitiful state. I didn't want any contact with him, so I lowered my head. Nolan's voice was cold and distant, carrying through the rain. "Get in. I'll take you home." I didn't move, resisting with my eyes. "Don't you want to know who saved you back then?" I pressed my lips tightly, the rain nearly blurring my vision. Reluctantly, I entered the car. The vehicle drove into the rain. I was eager for answers. Nolan calmly stated, "It was me who saved you." I frowned. "Do you think I'm stupid? As far as I know, you weren't even in the country during the earthquake 3 years ago." But he chuckled. "You're much smarter now." Outside, thunder roared and lightning flashed through the windows, illuminating everyone's faces. The room fell silent. Suddenly, someone whispered, "Is she going to be okay? Why do you care so much about her? If something happens, then she deserves it." A purple lightning bolt flashed. Noah frowned, with thunder rumbling all around. A loud crash, and the room was plunged into darkness. The power had gone out. He remembered. Emma had told him she was scared of thunder, and every time it thundered, he would let her touch him. The power was out. He recalled that Emma had mentioned her fear of thunder, and that each time it thundered, he would allow her to touch him. Instinctively, he wanted to go outside, but Sophia was tightly holding his arm. "Noah, I'm so scared. Is your face still hurting?" It was only then that Noah remembered Sophia had also been slapped. The hotel had sent someone over to apologize and calm the situation. Shortly after, the phone rang again, but Sophia seemed frightened. She held onto Noah tightly, burying her head in his chest. His legs were already in pain. Standing for so long wasn't helping. It was definitely not a good idea to go out and look for Emma. "Could someone help me check on her? It seems like she's drunk." I did smell alcohol just now. At the very least, as a married couple, we can't just ignore this. They sent someone out to check on Emma's condition. Shortly after, the person returned. Noah frowned. "You didn't go." The person hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Emma got into Nolan's car." Noah's eyes widened in shock. The warm air conditioning inside the car eased my chill. I huddled in the corner, not engaging with Nolan at all. He casually tossed a towel over my head. I pressed my lips together and silently dried my hair. From beginning to end, my gaze never met his. Suddenly, the phone rang. I picked it up, and it displayed Noah's name on the screen. I gripped the phone tightly, unsure if I wanted to answer. A hand reached over, taking the phone from me. The call was ended right before my eyes. "If you don't want to answer, then don't," I nodded. "Don't force yourself for this person." I continued nodding. "You know Noah saved you and you're willing to marry him." "If I saved you, should you marry me too?" I was halfway nodding, then I heard his laughter. The phone rang again. I frowned and answered. It was silent on the other end. Noah stayed quiet for a while. "Emma, I know you hate me, but you shouldn't have sought Nolan out just to make me jealous." I retorted. "Jealous? You don't make me laugh. Stop sulking. Stay away from him. Get out of the car now. I'll send someone to pick you up." I'm not an obedient girl. When I liked him, I would listen to him. When I hated him, I would oppose him on everything. I deliberately said in a playful tone, "Nolan, why don't you continue?" His response sent chills down my spine, but Nolan seemed to enjoy it. "Come on, get in." Noah angrily scolded. "Emma, you've really gone to the dogs." The call was disconnected. I finally found a moment of peace. Nolan lightly asked, "So, are you still coming?" The question had a double meaning. I didn't respond and told the driver to go to the nearest hotel. Nolan casually tapped my leg with his fingertips. As the car was about to stop, he grabbed my wrist. In a rare, serious tone, he asked, "Emma, are you pitying the disabled? Noah may have improved, but my legs won't. Can't you see that?" I thought Nolan was just joking. I opened the door and left in a hurry. The gaze behind me followed like a shadow, disappearing only as I turned the corner. I checked into the hotel. I called my lawyer to draft a divorce agreement, signed it, and had it sent to Noah. I messaged him to meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. to register for the divorce. Noah responded unhappily, "Who is this disgusting display for? I have moonlight in my heart, afraid of dragging others into it." He didn't save me, but took my savior's place. Such a sentimental face. When the appointed time arrived, I didn't see Noah at the Civil Affairs Bureau entrance. Without hesitation, I called Sophia, but I heard Noah's voice. He indeed didn't show up. Sophia recognized me, mocking, Can't climb up to Nolan now that Noah doesn't want you? You come to me to apologize? I laughed. Nothing. I just had an appointment with Noah to register for divorce. And now he's not here. What? You're stealing other people's husbands? She was too angry to speak. Shortly after, Noah appeared at the Civil Affairs Bureau entrance. Seeing him hesitate to speak, I didn't engage with him at all. After registering for divorce, I just waited for the 30-day cooling-off period to obtain the divorce certificate and be free from Noah. A black Bentley parked outside. I recognized it as Nolan's car and then looked away. Noah was foolish, and Nolan wasn't any better. I should stay away from both. As I was about to leave, Noah suddenly grabbed my gaze. Noah was foolish, and Nolan wasn't any better. I should stay away from both. As I was about to exit, Noah suddenly grasped my wrist. Emma, are you in such a hurry to divorce me? Nolan is cold-hearted. Even if he promises to have you, the companies won't allow him to have a divorced woman. Nolan's face appeared as the window rolled down. It seems the companies won't let you make that call. Emma, get in the car. I didn't move. Noah's eyes signaled me, still warning me not to contact Nolan. But why should I listen to him? Noah! We all turned at the sound of the voice. Sophia, who had arrived, stood at the door waiting. Seeing Noah, she rushed over with a smile, hugging his arm eagerly, asserting her dominance. I found it ridiculous. Wishing you 100 years of happiness. Noah frowned. Emma, can you stop saying these hurtful things? Sophia tenderly replied. Noah, your legs aren't fully healed yet. You can't stand for long. Let's go back quickly. She was caring and gentle. Noah's previously uncertain heart suddenly quieted. Divorcing you was the right choice. You really can't compare to Sophia. I had no expression, raised my hand, and slapped him. Can you compare to Nolan either? Neither of them reacted. I had already opened the car door, quickly got in, and closed it. I urged the driver to leave swiftly. The entire action was done in one motion. A light laugh came from beside me. Emma, comparing me to Noah, you're underestimating me, he asked, seeing me silent. Are you free now? I was puzzled. If you are free, would you consider me? If you want to take revenge, I can help you. I shook my head. No need. I just want to stay away from him. Noah returned to the company, and Sophia also secured a good job at the company thanks to her excellent education. The two of them were like a fairy tale couple, sparking numerous discussions. Since Noah broke his leg, he had disappeared from the public eye, but everyone knew he was married. Now he was so intimate with a newcomer like Sophia, which inevitably led to gossip. Sophia, being naturally proud, couldn't tolerate others' gossip and asked Noah to handle the situation, preventing anyone in the company from discussing them. Noah frowned slightly, and suddenly, an image of Emma from the past surfaced in his mind. At that time, he had broken his leg, and the doctor had even declared he would spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. The gossip and rumors almost drove him to the brink of collapse, but it was Emma who, against all odds, resolutely married him, caring nothing about his broken leg, finances, or social status. Many people gossiped about her, some even insulted her to her face. Noah, seated in his wheelchair, overheard those words around the corner, frowning deeply. However, Sophia was urging him. Clutching his arm tightly, he instinctively asked, "Can't you be more assertive?" It was only when Sophia looked at him in confusion that he realized his mind was filled with images of Emma. Quickly, he hugged Sophia, soothing her gently. The next day, he resolved the issue with those who were gossiping about her at the company. Sophia seemed very happy. The cooling-off period passed day by day. Noah's leg still occasionally caused him pain. Sophia, who had previously managed his recovery, was fired because she was hired by Emma. "Sophia, my leg hurts." Sophia looked at his leg but hesitated to touch it, showing a hint of struggle in her eyes. "Then I'll find a physiotherapist to give you a massage, Noah. Just wait for me." Noah remained calm. "Why don't you massage it for me? But I don't know how." Emma didn't either, but she knew he was in pain and felt sorry for him. Afraid of not taking care of him properly, she studied acupuncture points and massage techniques every night, all to help him alleviate the pain in his legs at night. Sophia felt inexplicably troubled and called out to him again. Only then did Noah allow her to find a physiotherapist. I heard about Noah's situation. I felt it was absurd to dismiss so many people just because of a few words. It had clearly caused discontent within the company. During this time, I had no contact with Noah and focused solely on work, ignoring everything else. Nolan seemed unusually relaxed, not working and picking me up from work every day. To avoid drawing attention, he even switched to a low-key car. I remained silent. This car costs over $1 million. It's not exactly low-key, it's even cheaper. The drivers were reluctant to drive it. Okay, I want to compete with you rich people. On the day the cooling-off period ended, I went to process the divorce registration as scheduled. Noah had arrived early this time. Sophia followed closely behind him as if fearing I might back out. We immediately completed the divorce registration. Just as we were about to leave, he suddenly stopped me, staring at me with hopeful eyes. "Emma, my leg hurts." I didn't know what he was expecting. I just felt disgusted. If your leg hurts, just endure it. What's the use of telling me? He knew I wasn't like this before and had lost patience a long time ago and called Sophia over. The black Bentley stopped at the door again. Noah reminded me from behind, "Although we are divorced, we were once a married couple. Nolan is indeed not a good match for you. You two are not suitable," I said indifferently. "We'll have to find out if we are a good match. Don't trouble yourself." Nolan opened the car door and walked towards me. Noah repeated, "Do you not know Nolan is getting engaged? You and he won't have a good ending." But it seemed like I didn't hear him. Watching Nolan approach me, his steps were slow, dignified, and graceful, but I knew he had a limp. He would show it if he tried to walk faster. He rubbed my head. "Sorry, had to deal with something. Am I late?" I shook my head, staring at his face without moving. Everyone said Nolan wasn't a good person, that he cared more about profits than family. But I didn't believe others. I only trusted my own eyes and feelings. After returning home, I felt a sense of relief. During this time, I had been staying in a hotel and hadn't found a place to live yet. After taking a shower, I heard a knock on the door. Nolan opened the door, holding a change of clothes, claiming the hot water heater in his room was broken and asking to use my bathroom. I agreed. As the sound of running water filled the room, the frosted glass revealed Nolan's silhouette, and I realized he was trying to use his good looks on me. That's why he chose to stay in the room next to mine tonight. He intentionally showcased his muscular physique, attempting to entice me. I found myself looking away, but then I thought, it's free, might as well take a peek. So I stared at the glass until he finished showering and then cleared my throat, pretending to be a proper lady, asking him to leave. Sitting next to me in a bathrobe, he said in a seductive tone, "Can I stay a little longer?" With his robe collar revealing plenty of skin and glimpses of his muscular chest, he was deliberately tempting me. I remained silent as he grabbed my hand and placed it on his chest. It's more interesting to touch than just to look. Indeed, it was fascinating. Nolan's body was better than Noah's. That was a view I hadn't seen before. He undid his belt. With just one move, the robe would no longer conceal his body. I silently swallowed some saliva. "This is getting too deep, Emma. You need to control yourself." He chuckled with a seductive voice. "Come sit on my lap and I'll be all yours. How about that?" With my hands on his abdomen, I swallowed him whole, leaving no gaps. Just then, the phone rang suddenly, startling me. Nolan softly whispered and pressed against my waist, his voice dangerously appealing, "Relax, sweetheart." His fingertips accidentally touched the answer button. Noah's voice came through asking, "Emma, where did you put my medicine?" His words trailed off, breathing heavily. "Where are you? Who are you with?" My mind went blank, with no time to respond. He kept asking questions while Nolan squeezed my waist, grinding against me passionately, with audible sighs in the silent room. Noah finally lost his patience. "Emma, where are you? I'm coming to find you right now." Without waiting for him to continue, I hung up the phone and blocked him. I placed my hands on Nolan's shoulders. "So, this is what it feels like. I've never experienced this before." Tilting my head, I lightly bit his Adam's apple, saying, "Do it again." That day, Noah didn't find me, but I heard that Sophia had a disagreement with him and almost ran away from home. The next day, they met with friends again. Sophia looked radiant, and there were no more arguments with Noah. I also heard that Noah and Sophia were about to get engaged. Every time they went out, they were always together. There was a banquet in the capital. and Nolan took me there. However, just before leaving, he had something come up and asked someone to take me in first. This banquet wasn't just for entertainment, but for my own company, which was in its early stages and needed some business leads. It turned out unexpectedly well, as a few companies agreed to work with me. However, I often saw Sophia clinging to Noah and the two of them toasting with others, seemingly on the verge of good news. Sophia was in the limelight, and Noah's gaze seemed to rest on me with some ambiguity. Suddenly, he took the initiative to bring Sophia over. "Emma, I'm about to propose to Sophia," he said. I nodded, continuing to glance at the executives I planned to cooperate with. Noah's face turned slightly pale as he asked, "Do you have anything you want to say to me?" Sophia chuckled. "Noah, what are you saying?" I raised my glass to them, saying, "Wishing you a happy union soon, with 8 sons all at once." He suddenly looked lost and dejected, his eyes losing their brightness. "Why don't you care about me anymore?" In front of everyone, Noah uttered such inexplicable words to me. Sophia's face turned sour. I didn't bother involving myself with them, and as soon as I left, I heard them arguing. There was an artificial lake in the garden, costing a fortune. I had drunk quite a bit earlier, so I walked to the edge of the lake to get some fresh air and sober up. Sensing movement behind me, I turned around. Noah somehow got rid of Sophia and stared at me intently, his eyes seemingly hiding 1,000 words. "Are you really with Nolan?" he asked. I denied it, saying, "Not really, he's just physically strong, playing with his body. I'm not asking him for any commitment, and he's not demanding any commitment from me. Who knows when things might end, but I think it's fine this way." Noah turned pale. "Do you have to degrade yourself like this?" He pressed his lips tightly and said, "Emma, I realized how empty the house was after you left. Everything in the house was arranged by you, even the medicine I need. Only you knew about it." With every word he spoke, I furrowed my brows a little more. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Noah, you're truly disgusting. How could I have believed that you were the one who saved me at all costs? With your true nature revealed, how could you ever have sacrificed your life to save someone? I had been deceived for so long. You don't like me. You just realized I'm better compared to others." He looked at me in disbelief. "Emma, aren't you the one who used to care for me the most? Now I disgust you the most." His eyes turned red, bewildered, unwilling to accept the truth. I took out a pocket watch from my bosom. This was the one Noah had given me during the earthquake 3 years ago. I had kept it on me all this time, even after getting married. I had treasured it carefully, but now I felt no attachment to it. So I threw the pocket watch into the artificial lake. Splat. It disappeared without a trace. But Noah seemed confused, as if not understanding what I was doing. Then a dark shadow moved swiftly from behind us. He limped a bit, but didn't hesitate to jump into the lake. I was stunned, almost mistaking him for Noah. It wasn't until some time later that the person finally found the pocket watch and swam to the shore. Only then did I realize it was Nolan. He was drenched, walking towards me, and I noticed his right foot had an issue. It was hard to tell when walking slowly, but became noticeable when he walked faster. Yet, all this time, he had always appeared calm and composed in front of me, never letting me see this impaired side of him. He held up the pocket watch in front of me. "If you don't want it, why did you throw it away? Emma, do you really look down on the things I give you?" My lips trembled slightly, revealing a somewhat puzzled expression. "Isn't this from Noah?" I asked. He chuckled, coldly grasping my chin, then let me admit it myself. "Whose is it?" Noah's face darkened. Back then, it was his own confession that he had given it to me. Even though later he found out he didn't save me in the end, he realized that everything had been a lie, including the pocket watch. I looked calmly at him, then kicked the man into the lake. The movement was so sudden that even Nolan hadn't reacted yet. Noah struggled in the lake for a moment, about to swim back to the shore. I suddenly caught sight of Sophia and quickly called her over. Sophia saw Noah. Her expression changed. "Noah, weren't you supposed to be resting in the lounge? How come you're here? Did Emma lure you over here deliberately? Did she push you into the lake?" Noah was soaked, no better off than Nolan. He shook his head. "No, it was my own carelessness. Nothing to do with Emma." Sophia was almost on the verge of collapse, shouting, "Emma, Emma." "Noah, do you know how many times you've mentioned Emma these days? You're my fiancé. You should only think about me." The commotion attracted many onlookers. Sophia's face couldn't hold up anymore. She glared at me, shifting everyone's attention to me. "Emma, why are you so shameless trying to seduce my fiancé when I'm not around? Did you push him into the lake? Nolan is holding me here. It seems unnecessary to pay attention to that useless person." Noah clenched his fists. I looked down on him, saying from a higher position, "If you're so confident, won't the man you stole be stolen by someone else? You better hold on to this man well. In case he's taken from you, you'll regret it. Let them fight over it. As for me, I won't fight for him." The farce had gone on for too long, and finally Noah's family took him away, with Sophia following quickly after. I felt exhausted from watching it all. It wasn't until I got into the car that I had time to process everything that had happened today. I turned to Nolan, who had been following me all along, and handed him a towel. "What did you mean just now? You said this pocket watch is yours." After calming down, everything about the earthquake, being trapped underground, and what happened today felt like still frames frozen in my mind. Each frame lingered and enlarged in my mind. And that day, when Nolan said he was the one who saved me, I always thought it was just helping to wipe off the water stains on him. He buried his head in my neck, his breath scattering. I was unconscious for a whole week. After recovering, I didn't dare to see you, afraid my scars would scare you. But when I found out you were already in love, I only caught a glimpse of you from afar in the crowd, your eyes full of Noah. Soon after, I heard the news of your marriage. I bit my lip, wondering how he had spent those days back then. He suddenly lifted his head, caressing my face. "It was my decision to save you. No matter the outcome, I will bear it. So you don't have to feel guilty towards me. What I want is your love, not your guilt." I stared at him silently. His pulse quickened under my gaze. "Anger is allowed, but never reject me. Even the richest man like Nolan would miss one woman. Without me, a bunch of people would be vying to be with you. I have a limp. If you don't want me, they will all look down on me," he said pitifully, trying to gain my sympathy. "Who dares to bully Nolan's loved ones?" I reached out and grabbed his tie, making him lean in towards me. I tilted my head up, kissing his lips. "Don't worry, I want you. As long as you're fine in that department, I'll always want you." Nolan deepened the kiss. "You can check if you want." I straddled him, pinning him to the back seat, not allowing him to move. He could only rely on me. I lowered my head, biting his ear, completely dominating the situation, taking what I wanted on my own terms. His breath hitched. The vehicle had been parked in Nolan's garage for who knows how long, untouched. It wasn't until midnight that someone finally got out of the car. Noah hadn't bothered me for a long time. I breathed a sigh of relief and worked even harder. This time, I wouldn't bend over backwards for anyone. Men can lie, but careers won't. It wasn't until much later that I heard Noah hadn't gotten engaged to Sophia. Instead, they had broken up. Sophia wasn't particularly talented, and now without support, she couldn't find a job as good as her previous one. Rumor had it that there was a love child in Noah's family from his original brotherhood. He had always envied Noah, and suddenly he became one of the heirs, competing fiercely with Noah. Noah was constantly overwhelmed by the hassle. One night, a strange number suddenly texted me, "Emma, I'm sorry." Did he really feel sorry for me? I didn't think so. Instead, it was just because Sophia couldn't care for him as much as I did. He felt a gap in his heart. He wasn't looking for a lover, but a caretaker. What he loved most was himself. It's disgusting. Little did I know, because of the fight for the family fortune, that love child orchestrated a car accident that left Noah less fortunate this time. His leg was broken and couldn't be fixed, spending the rest of his life in a wheelchair. A year passed, and my company had changed drastically. It was almost unrecognizable. My secretary said someone came to seek cooperation. I asked her to bring him in. When the door opened, I casually looked up and suddenly met Noah's tired eyes. Glancing down, I saw him in his wheelchair, just like when we first met before getting married, even with a broken leg. He didn't look as destitute as he had during the 3 years we were married. Noah's eyes were red. "It's you," I said lightly. Yeah, I never expected it to be you looking to cooperate with me. Noah's grandfather, for fairness, had given Noah and that love child 3 years each to run a family business. Whoever managed the company well would become the final heir. He stared at me quietly, his eyes red but not daring to blink. Afraid this is a dream. Emma, I know I was wrong before, and I've been looking for a chance to apologize to you, but Nolan was blocking it. I couldn't find your news. Did you think I didn't love you because I didn't make a move on you earlier? Later, I found out I had a mental problem, convincing myself I liked Sophia and pushing you away. But it wasn't true. I've liked you for a long time, I just didn't realize it. I've been carrying a diagnosis. Look, I'm better now. Can we start over? Would you? The office door suddenly swung open. Nolan chuckled. Noah, I agreed to let you come just to bury the hatchet, not rekindle the spark. Have you no shame? Digging up my past right in front of me. He was not amused, walking up to me, resting one hand on the desk and stroking my face with the other. He bent down to kiss me, saying with a grievance, "He's bullying me, aren't you going to do something?" Helplessly, I replied, "I will." When the security guard arrived, Noah looked shattered, with 1,000 words in his eyes for me, but he was quickly escorted away. Nolan finally smiled satisfactorily. He got up to lock the door. Slowly approaching me, he teased, "I've learned a new trick. Want to try it here? Is it good?" With that, he bent down and kissed me without leaving any gaps. There was no escaping this time.